On March 21st, the Seoul Central District Court granted ADOR's application for a provisional disposition to preserve agency status and prohibit advertising contract execution. The court issued a temporary order prohibiting NewJeans members from independently engaging in entertainment activities, such as music, advertising, or broadcasting. This ruling clearly indicates the court's stance that NewJeans is still under ADOR and should not engage in independent activities. In November of last year, NewJeans unilaterally declared the termination of their exclusive contract with ADOR and announced plans for independent activities under the name NJZ. However, the court determined that such independent activities constituted a breach of contract, as the termination was not recognized as valid. The court explained that this provisional disposition is a temporary measure effective until the final judgment, but it carries immediate and substantial restrictions. Regarding the court's decision, NewJeans stated that while they respect the judgment, they plan to submit additional evidence during the objection and main lawsuit processes to reveal the truth. They also expressed their intention to attend the Hong Kong ComplexCon performance scheduled for the 23rd to prevent any inconvenience to fans and stakeholders. Meanwhile, ADOR expressed gratitude for the court's wise judgment and conveyed their desire to have an open dialogue with NewJeans. They also mentioned that, concerning the Hong Kong ComplexCon, they would provide ample support on-site to ensure the performance proceeds under the name of NewJeans. So, how does this ruling restrict NewJeans' activities moving forward? The court's injunction doesn't just preserve the contract's validity, it imposes a broad prohibition on each member's entertainment activities. The most significant change affects their music and stage performances. The court has prohibited NewJeans from creating, releasing, or performing songs through any channels outside of ADOR. This means that holding concerts or releasing new songs under the name NJZ is legally forbidden. The same applies to individual activities. Solo songs or collaborations by members could be considered violations without ADOR's approval. In essence, NewJeans' musical creativity and activities are currently at a complete standstill. The second restriction pertains to advertising and modeling contracts. Since their debut, NewJeans has showcased strong brand power, securing numerous advertising deals with major corporations. However, in this lawsuit, ADOR claimed that NewJeans had been independently approaching advertisers to pursue new contracts. The court accepted this argument and imposed a comprehensive ban on entering into new advertising agreements. This means that activities such as advertising shoots under the name NJZ, participation in fashion brand events, and ambassador contracts are all prohibited. Even for existing advertising contracts, without consultation with ADOR, it may be challenging to proceed with shoots or promotions. Effectively, most of NewJeans' revenue-generating activities have come to a halt. The third restriction pertains to all media activities, including television appearances and press interviews. ADOR requested the court to prohibit NewJeans from independently participating in TV programs, radio shows, and online content, and the court granted this injunction. This restriction applies broadly, encompassing not only music shows but also variety shows, radio interviews, press interviews, and even social media activities. Although there have been recent interactions with foreign media, such as an interview with CNN, future engagements of this nature could now lead to legal disputes. In fact, the group's social media account has been changed to @NJZ_official, and even communication with fans through this account could become legally sensitive. Ultimately, NewJeans must halt all independent public activities for the time being, and their interactions with fans will be significantly limited. This injunction is just one part of a much larger conflict. Right now, the legal battle surrounding NewJeans is divided into three main areas. In November 2024, NewJeans announced the termination of their exclusive contract with ADOR, citing the agency's failure to fulfill contractual obligations. They held an urgent press conference, stating, "ADOR no longer has the will or ability to protect us," and introduced a new team name, NJZ. In response, ADOR immediately refuted this declaration, asserting that the contract remains valid until 2029 and that NewJeans' unilateral termination is invalid. Subsequently, in December 2024, ADOR filed a lawsuit to confirm the validity of the exclusive contract, with the Seoul Central District Court. Conversely, NewJeans is countering by claiming that ADOR breached the contract and is actively responding to the main lawsuit. The court's first substantive hearing is scheduled for April 3, 2025, where it will determine whether NewJeans' contract termination was justified or if ADOR properly fulfilled its contractual obligations. This situation stems from conflicts between Min Hee-jin, former CEO of ADOR, and Hybe headquarters. In early 2024, Hybe initiated an audit, alleging that CEO Min attempted to make the company independent. In response, CEO Min held 2 press conferences, strongly opposing the audit by stating, "This is all a conspiracy by Hybe." During this period, Hybe's subsidiary, Belief Lab, sued Min Hee-jin for defamation, and Source Music filed a lawsuit demanding approximately 500 million Korean won for obstruction of business and defamation. Ultimately, in November 2024, CEO Min stepped down from ADOR's board of directors. Shortly thereafter, NewJeans declared the termination of their contract, leading to simultaneous escalations and conflicts between both parties. Additionally, CEO Min filed criminal complaints against 2 of ADOR's public relations officers and mentioned the possibility of filing lawsuits against Hybe for damages or defamation in the future. Hybe, in turn, is reportedly preparing legal action against Min Hee-jin for breach of trust. NewJeans claims that, in addition to ADOR, Hybe headquarters has marginalized them. In press conferences and legal documents, they stated, "Hybe planned to replace us with another girl group, excluding us, and, after ousting CEO Min Hee-jin, they ignored us." In October 2024, member Hani took the unprecedented step of testifying before the National Assembly's Environment and Labor Committee about workplace harassment she experienced at Hybe. This situation transcends a simple contract dispute, intertwining internal power struggles within the agency and the artists' assertions of their rights. This court decision to grant the injunction is a provisional measure, but its symbolism and actual effect are significant. This ruling is essentially interpreted as the court indirectly expressing that it does not recognize the validity of the contract termination. In other words, the court has determined that NewJeans' independent activities may constitute a breach of contract. As a result, ADOR and Hybe can prepare for the main lawsuit from a legally advantageous position. The reasons cited by NewJeans, such as severe unfair treatment and breakdown of trust, have not yet been accepted by the court as specific illegal factors. NewJeans has currently halted all activities. This could severely impact their ability to maintain their fan base, expand global recognition, and generate revenue. Legal proceedings can take months or even years to conclude. If this situation prolongs, the psychological and financial pressures on NewJeans are likely to intensify. Some analysts suggest that this scenario might compel NewJeans to consider an early settlement. This ruling could be interpreted as an unfavorable signal for former CEO Min Hee-jin. Given that NewJeans supported her by declaring contract termination, the court's refusal to acknowledge this may indirectly suggest a lack of credibility in Min's claims. Consequently, Hybe can now assert, "We have acted in accordance with legal procedures," thereby solidifying their legitimacy. This recent court ruling has reinforced the importance of trust and structure in contracts throughout the K-pop industry. In light of recurring issues over the past few years, such as artists experiencing power abuse and unilateral contract terminations, concerns about the contractual framework within the entertainment sector have grown. However, today's decision indicates that the court is unwilling to easily disrupt established contractual orders. In fact, 5 major K-pop organizations expressed apprehension in February, stating that the NewJeans case could threaten the industry's investment structure. They can now find reassurance in the court's careful handling of artist contracts. This ruling carries a strong message that could influence the main lawsuit, marking a significant turning point in the complex legal conflicts involving ADOR, Hybe, Min Hee-jin, and NewJeans. In summary, this court decision has clearly established a temporary legal restriction preventing NewJeans from pursuing independent activities. The entire K-pop industry is keenly observing the upcoming formal trial scheduled for April 3rd, anticipating the evidence and testimonies that will be presented. There's particular interest in whether NewJeans will submit more compelling evidence or if both parties will find a mutual agreement. Whether this dispute concludes with reconciliation or a definitive victory for one side, and the subsequent message it sends to the K-pop industry, remains to be seen. K-pop Inside will continue to monitor and report on these developments.